I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming.
Decolonizing or lying? I mean, how can we talk about just transfers and still be owning her while she be desecrated and dying? Mama Earth is who I speak of. Our great mama, who, like our mamas, we only have one of. Her purchase, your profit, leads to all these violent evictions and sweeps that got us poor peoples dying and coughing. From Winnemucca to around the corner, from First Nations elders to grandmamas like Iris Canada and Elaine Turner. Buying, selling, renting, and dwelling. If you poll, you lucky if you win the real estate monopoly. End up housed instead of at the mercy of scandalors, police, and more jailing. If you worked all your life to your own your spot, I ain't mad at you. It's all we've been taught. Sold and told it's what we should attain just to be safe in a capitalist pyramid game that keeps poor peoples in chains, breaking poor people's backs, grown on poor people's labors and intentional poverty by the ongoing lie of private property. Would you sell your mama? Would you put her on the auction block? Would you evict and sweep so you never have to see how much she got robbed, thawed, and bought? What's the answer? How about clarifying the problem? How about a complete stop to the same old process? Wealth hoarders don't steal and profit, and philanthropists don't dole out your fake dollars because they stop exchanging Mama Earth on the stock market. Fight for First Nations and Black land back, for sovereignty and no more settler lie smack. Fight for no more hygienic metaphors about us poor. Fight for her, your mama, our mamas, our Mama Earth. This poemcast from a poverty scholar goes out to all my fellow poverty scholars, but more importantly, it goes out to all those conscious wealth hoarders, those about to be radical redistributors, to understand that poverty has been a consumer product of capitalism since the settlers first came here. As a matter of fact, poverty and disability was a crime in all the countries the settlers came from. So where did homelessness come from? Its origins are not, as many 21st century researchers will tell you, lack of rent control, redlining, violence, trauma, profiling, ableism, racism, eviction, and don't forget gentrification. Those are most definitely what has made homelessness up to these terrifying epidemic levels. It's what continues to put our mamas on the street, our elders off their feet, killing us, sweeping us. But these are not its roots. And homelessness, as we now experience it, could not have taken hold had it not been for the original theft of Turtle Island, the implementation of the deep settler lies of private property, to launch the realist snake speculative industry and a multitude of extractive industries set up because of that original theft for profit extraction, colonization. So why are the origins necessary to clearly name? Because it enables us to clarify the game, to clarify what we are fighting against and fighting for. While we clearly fight against and recognize and hold the violence of homelessness, including death from exposure, these violent genocidal sweeps, police, terror of all our sons and daughters on these streets. These crimes against houseless people's bodies are increasing from Seattle to so-called San Francisco. And they are directly tied to the commodification and decolonization of Mama Earth. Settler politricksters want us to be confused so we don't question, upset, and resist the original crime, so we don't all recognize our deep connections to each other's struggles as houseless peoples, black, brown, indigenous, migrante, and even po-white, or what I call the broken settler strife. Instead, we demand land from systems put in place by the settler government that will never give us land because it was already stolen from First Nations people for the sole purpose of profit and extraction. We demand actual affordable housing from developers and really snakes, which will never happen because then no one would have money to take. We demand access to not be policed and incarcerated for sitting, standing, walking, sleeping on Mama Earth without paying ground rent, which will never happen because we are taking up space without paying for it. And therefore no one is making any money on the space we take. Not to mention our mere presence lowering property values, as we poor people are told by scam lords, realist snakes, and racist, classist neighbors all the time. So as we resist the onslaught of violent criminalization against our unhoused bodies all across this occupied land, we need to incorporate the larger demand. Decolonize. Land back. Give the First Nations peoples, give descendants of African chattel slavery, give migrante peoples access to their land. And decolonize homelessness. It's not enough to fight criminalization. We need to fight against the settler lie of ownership of Mama Earth itself.